10 world-famous ideas that started as dreams. The majority of goals, like standing in the grocery store in your pajamas or failing an exam you already passed a decade ago, have little value. However, every once in a while, a person will have a dream that motivates them to develop something novel and original. Even rarer, some of these concepts will actually become popular and widespread phenomena. 10. The first periodic table. Dmitry Mendeleev, conceived 1834, was a famous physicist. He accepted the challenge of attempting to present all of the discovered elements in a logical and scientifically accepted manner. He thought there was a solid solution to this issue, but he couldn't quite put it all together. He had a dream that night in which all of his thoughts came together. Dmitry wrote, quoting from his diary, "In a dream, I saw a table with all the necessary components assembled. Arousing, I quickly recorded it on a piece of paper." In 1869, he published a table that sorted the elements according to their atomic weight. This served as the foundation for the current periodic table, which organizes the elements according to the number of protons in each atom. 9. The Terminator movies. James Cameron had a fever of 39 degrees Celsius, 102 degrees Fahrenheit, when he had a dream that gave him the idea for one of the most well-known sci-fi movies. He was working on Piranha 2's final cut in Rome at the time. He credits both the fever and the sensation of disengagement in an unfamiliar country to the horrible that proceeded to rouse the Eliminator. Cameron appeared in the dream as a character in a strange future world. He saw a chrome robot middle utilizing kitchen blades to drag itself away from a blast. Cameron wrote down his dream because he liked the idea of a robotic assassin who was hard to stop and always determined to kill its target. It would eventually develop into the concept of two robots fighting in a dystopia, but Cameron ultimately preferred to use only one robot. The concept for the Terminator emerged. 8. Google. In 1996, Larry Page was attending college, and he frequently had the impression that the sole reason he had been admitted was because of a clerical error. He had a strange dream as a result of his anxiety over the possibility of being kicked out of college at any time. He longed for downloading and putting away the web on individual computers. He did some math to see if it was possible when he awoke. You were unable to save entire web pages to a computer due to bandwidth and storage issues. However, it was possible to save the web pages as separate links. Page got the idea from this to gather links to web pages all over the world and look through them. At last, this formed into the Google we know today. 7. The theory of relativity. A bizarre dream served as the impetus for one of Albert Einstein's most well-known discoveries. He had a dream in which he was watching cows eat through an electric fence, but the fence didn't seem to bother the cows. Einstein contacted the wall and found the reason why they weren't annoyed. The fence's charge had run out. All of the cows fled simultaneously as the farmer approached the fence and replaced the battery. Einstein mentioned to the farmer the amusing sight of cows jumping simultaneously. The farmer claimed, confused, that he had observed each cow leaping sequentially as the charge traveled down the fence. When Einstein awoke, the dream gave him the idea that some people might see something happen immediately while others might see the same thing happen sequentially. The theory of relativity was founded on this. 6. H. P. Lovecraft's Necronomicon. One of the most well-known works of wickedness, the Necronomicon, begins in a sort of magical way. Even though some people disagreed about whether or not the translation was correct, H. P. Lovecraft did go on to say that the Greek word for Necronomicon means an image of the law of the dead. However, he asserted that he first came up with the name in a dream. Individuals offered different clarifications for how Lovecraft concocted the thought subsequent to hearing this, remembering perusing The Lord for Yellow, which recounts the tale of an upsetting book. On the other hand, Lovecraft maintained that he only read The King in Yellow a few years after completing the Necronomicon. 5. Hergé's Tintin in Tibet. Tintin's creator, Hergé, was experiencing recurring nightmares. He put it thus: "My nightmares were always filled with a lot of empty space and were very upsetting. I recall being in a tower-like structure with a series of ramps during one of them. Dead leaves were falling and covered everything. A white skeleton tried to catch me at a specific time in an exquisitely white alcove. Then, right away, everything around me turned white." The dreams were brought on by his previous work on Tintin, according to a psychoanalyst, who advised Hergé to stop right away to vanquish the demon. Instead, Hergé wrote Tintin in Tibet, a tale set mostly in the snowy Alps, which Hergé saw as the white spaces in his dreams. Tintin in Tibet would become one of Hergé's masterpieces and end his nightmares. For Robert Louis Stevenson's. Robert Louis Stevenson was in monetary waterways and vigorously constrained by his distributor for a well-known experience book. Robert began yelling into the night one night after having such a terrible nightmare. Robert didn't like the fact that his wife, Fanny, got him out of his nightmare. "Why did you wake me?" he inquired. "I was imagining a fantastic fable." Incidentally, the bad dream was Robert's ticket out of his concerns. He was noticeably more optimistic about resolving his problems and eager to publish his bogey tale for others to read after his dream. When it was finished, it would become the popular book the publisher wanted, telling the story of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. 3. Christopher Nolan's Inception. It should come as no surprise that Christopher Nolan's well-known film about dreams, Inception, was influenced by them. He says that his own dreams inspired a lot of what happens in Inception. However, there was no one dream that led to Inception. All things being equal, Nolan's primary impact for the film originated from a few individual situations when he encountered clear dreaming, the impression of controlling a fantasy and attempting to change it in a beneficial manner. Naturally, knowing that you are in a dream is necessary for lucid dreaming, so knowing how to tell a dream world from reality is crucial. Nolan was able to incorporate his own experience distinguishing between worlds into the film as a central theme. 2. Frankenstein. At a gathering that Lord Byron hosted, Mary Shelley, who at the time went by the name Mary Godwin, was present. A volcanic eruption in the Dutch East Indies blocked out the sun, ending a warm summer that was intended to be spent there. As a result, the group had to find a new way to pass the dreary, blustery time. They started having fun with each other by telling stories about German ghosts around a campfire. Mary challenged everyone, inspired by the session, to come up with and tell their own ghost stories based on the ones they had been reading. Mary had a dream that night about a crazy scientist who tried to imitate God by creating a new species of man. This performed significantly better than winning a fireside competition and became the setting for Frankenstein. 1. The Beatles' Yesterday. The tune for Yesterday, one of the more famous Beatles songs, came to Paul McCartney via a dream. He didn't know it at first. He woke up with the tune stuck in his head and believed that he had heard the song before. Despite how much he tried, however, he couldn't place who sang it. To work out the mystery, McCartney played the tune on a piano and wrote down the notes for the song, passing it around to friends and asking who originally sang it. For a while, he didn't believe it was something of his own subconscious invention. He claimed, "But I couldn't have written it because I dreamt it." When it became apparent that it wasn't another person's song, the Beatles fleshed it out. The original title was Scrambled Eggs, with the second line being, "Oh, my baby, how I love your legs." But this eventually developed into Yesterday. If you love this video, Please subscribe to the channel to receive the earliest notification of the next videos. Click the like and share button to spread this video to everyone. And please take a look at the video description to support us. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video.